Hi, and welcome to another episode of ABSOLU by the Window. Today I've got the great privilege of uploading my latest episode, my second episode, and I have the great honor and privilege of having been to Johannesburg for the opening of AYANDA Mabulu's solo exhibition at the Eberhard Reed Gallery. I highly recommend you go see it, and also please do yourself a favor, look at research, go find out for yourself. It's not about me passively giving you information. I'd like you to also go out there and discover for yourself online, in magazines, Ayanda's work, which is truly remarkable, and it touches on quite a few subjects, and some of them are sensitive. Some of them, it's not everybody agrees. There is controversy in some of Ayanda's work, but and I can relate to that as some of the things that the work or pieces that I've done have rubbed people the wrong way. The message in all of this is basically saying, even if you don't agree with people, the world's so divided. I think that the very least we can do is try and understand other people's perspectives, other people's point of views, and at least dampen the ignorance that seems to be so pervasive at the moment. On both sides of most arguments, mostly political or environmental or emotional, there's a French expression that says everybody sees noon at their window. So I think it's vital that we try have at least a window peak stare into what other people are thinking besides just ourselves, and anyway, I strongly recommend that you go see his show, read up on him, look at his work. I think that his work is not only incredible and important today, and even if misunderstood by some, and this is as I said to Ayanda when I first met him, I believe that his work will be to the very least studied by scholars 20 years from now, because of the importance of his work it speaks to humanity, it speaks to South Africa, our history, and South Africans, and understanding better where we come from, and where hopefully we'll be going, or where we can go, where we have the ability to go. So I hope that Ayanda had in recording this podcast basically moved me to silence, and I have the honor and privilege to call this man and human, just beautiful human, my friend. So without further ado, I present AYANDA MABULU, a podcast that we recorded in Johannesburg the night after the opening of his solo exhibition. Go see it, please. Also, feel free to share with your friends and family. I think these words, the words from Ayanda are very powerful and deserve the right audience. So yes, enjoy. Sending love, peace, and this one's for the books. So
so we'll continue with the camera thing. Must I talk about them or not?
No, I mean, well, first of all, you know, Ayanda, thank you very much for doing this podcast, and you're my second guest, so I'm very honored to have you. And I came to the show last night, and it was an amazing success.
Sure.
And these pieces are fantastic, and we'll get some footage of the pieces. If you wouldn't mind just maybe talking a bit about, if you'd like to talk a bit about the show and the preparation for the show, or if there's some other aspects of you and that we spoke about when you came to visit me in Cape Town that I definitely would like to get more in depth, because it was educational for me.
Sure, sure.
And so on top of your work, I'd like to talk also about for example, the Black Consciousness movement, which I, since last seeing you, have realized that I was very ignorant about a lot of things.
Sure.
And I wanted to, when you spoke to me about it, I was like, I know more about, you know, what's happened in the States, in Europe, or, you know, things like this, and yet I've spent so much time in South Africa, and yet I realized how little I knew about the history. And so first of all, I think that if we can maybe, if you'd like to tell us a bit about your show, which was incredible. The turnout was absolutely incredible. You had and if you'd like to share with us also who was here.
The show was nice. By the way, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for the fact that and thank you to the universe too, which I think which is very important, and I know you are part of the universe. You are the universe. You are the planet yourself. We are the planet. We are. And it's very important that we are aligned, and everything is aligned, and all is good. But in terms of the show, I haven't been to the show yet, and to be honest with you, it's the first time I'm visiting the show. Yes, it was my opening, but it's the first time seeing it. Remember, it's the second day of the show, but it's the first time seeing it, and you gave me that opportunity, by the way, because I don't really like seeing my work. I don't like seeing my work. I don't like it, and thanks for the opportunity. But at the same time, thanks for the platform that you're giving me, because it's like opening another planet and other planets, because this will be heard by other people, and thanks to them too, whoever was going to be listening to this and seeing it. Thanks. The show was so powerful, not the words, but the attendance and the people, the energy that they brought. For me, I'm there, I'm invested there. For me, it should be an equivalence to how happy Harvard University is with the amount of, students of color that are there, because it's about them becoming the portal of, and the portal taking, or the seeds taking the power of the knowledge and spreading it out there to share it with other people and everyone. So when people come and see the show, for me it's very important because they become the vessels themselves, that they take it out there and pollinate everything out there beautifully. So hence I'm saying I'm invested more in the spirit that the people brought here, and I got healed from it. And the show was based on healing because it is the most important thing that we should have. We come from COVID, but more than anything, psychologically we heal, physically we heal, spiritually we heal. We've been harvested and we were left empty, we heal. And more than anything, we became the illest after all of that. Hence, we're still sitting here and standing and talking. I wanted to share that because I had to go through a long process of healing myself. And I wanted to share that healing with everyone. And I wanted everyone to heal. I'm a very spirited being. If I were to give any gift, if I were to be as I am the gift myself, if I were to give any gift to anyone, it should be the gift of healing. And healing has everything to do with your body deciding how it chooses to heal itself, how your mind chooses to heal itself, because it's got all the essence of healing on its own. And if I were to command the universe to heal everyone, psychologically, physically, spiritually, and beyond, it should be done in an offering where I give certain types of artworks that inspires them positively moving forward. That is the whole idea and the essence of what the show is all about. And transporting them more than anything from the dark abyss of different types of illnesses, and transporting them, pulling them out of that and putting them in that boat and take them back to where they were born, where the suns are born, where all the energies are born, where all the elements are born, and let them know and remind them of the greatness that they possess themselves as the people, and journey with them, which I think it's what you're doing with me right now. Right. So thank you.
I mean, it's you know, as you said, you know, life itself, you know, throws a lot of curveballs at you, and it all depends on how you deal with it. And like you were just saying, you know, I think the last couple of years for everybody has been you know, a major shift in the planet and in humans and people's interaction with each other. You know, I'm a firm believer that you know, there's strength in numbers, and we need to be, you know, there needs to be you know, this unity that comes with people by understanding each other, by trying to learn about not only who you are but who other people are.
You know, I always say, you know, I always believe as a spirited being, but then for the lack of a better word, at the same time understanding that I'm from the street, you know, and I embrace that thing. You're from the street yourself, you know, because that's where we all operate. Our houses become cocoons, and then they limit us. You know, we are very huge. We are very huge, not in anything but in spirit. That if you put us in a space, no space can capacitate us and the greatness that we carry ourselves as a people. That allows us to grow beyond gender. That allows us to grow beyond race. That allows us to grow beyond wealth, which is materialistically and beyond. So the street becomes a place, and the space becomes the place, and the universe becomes the street. And in there, it's hustle and the bustle. In there, we're all hustlers. In there, we're all gangsters. In there, we're all mafias in our own ways. And if the street is the heavens, if the street is the Mecca, if the street is if the corner is where we congregate, and then the street becomes the heavens, and then we become gangsters. And then if the owner of all of that is God, then God is gangster. So we have strength in numbers. Tupac spoke about 50 niggas. We're talking about billion peoples. And in Xhosa we call it inkitha yomkhosi wasemazulwini, meaning that it's the floods of spirited, of people who are, it's the flood of spirited army. We are that thing. For in the midst of us being eliminated, or any one of us is eliminated, I multiply and expand, which is the meaning behind my name. It's expansion, it's multiplicity, it's me being multiplied, it's infinity. That's what my name is. I live in you and you live in me. For if you are eliminated, I carry part of you with me and I take it forward. That's why we have to be inspired and allow the idea of strength in numbers becoming our own vehicle. We are small molecules, and we are made of small molecules. We are small particles, and if we allow ourselves to remove all the weight that we carry within ourselves, we will be light. Yeah. And our journey will be very effortless, like dandelion dust flying in the air, and we can germinate anywhere, and the world become the street, and we all become the citizens of it. Then we become people of the borderless cosmos. That is very important. And there,
and you say you're there. You feel spiritually that you're there, and because I mean, as on a personal level,
sure,
I feel very weighted.
Yeah.
By these things that you seem to be enlightened and liberated by
Yeah.
So I mean it's spiritually, I mean it's looking to you and for you,
yeah,
for this kind of advice, spiritual advice. It's very deep and emotional for me because like you go through things and it's tough.
Yeah. It's difficult. One of the works that I hear has a snake. And people keep on asking me, and remember one thing, when you paint a snake, you become a snake yourself. And as you are a snake, every snake wants to show its color, and then you are attacked by snakes too. The war is highly spiritual right now. My previous works. You're the last person I gave my work to. You're the only person who saw works like that and you said, I believe in it and I love it. That work is it's one of the most beautiful and powerful, highly truthful works about our history. Understand one thing. When I'm painting a snake, the only thing that surrounds me is snakes. And some snakes come in and give me a hug like pythons. And they squeeze me and they squeeze each and every juice out of me and then take it away. Other snakes come in like black mambas, because we're black. And then they give a bite and leave the poison and they leave you dying slowly. I had to go through all of that thing. And some snakes are like puff adders. And they walk that way, and because we think the head is there, and then they turn and bite you whilst walking behind it. So they lead you blindly and towards your demise. I had to go through such. It became a highly spiritual journey for me. But then I got to a point where I realized that all of this becomes too much weight, for we're wearing pants with pockets, and our hearts have 4 rooms. And these 4 rooms in our hearts becomes they houses a lot that we shouldn't be housing in our hearts. And because our minds are curious, through our eyes we see things and we get attracted by them and we consume them and put them and they store there. And then our heads become heavy like a tongue. And then, in the midst of me trying to shred off everything, I had to be a snake myself, for I needed to get rid of the shit. And it had a lot to do with me peeling off my skin, for I will get to possess newness within myself, spiritually and otherwise. I did that, but then I had to trust and believe in the journey. And part of me doing that was to confront those snakes head on. I had to show them love. And I had to show them love. I had to teach them love by loving them in the midst of hate. I had to let go and shred the skin. But then, more than anything, I had to, because I understand the power that we possess, I had to make sure that I recognize the power that I have for every snake that is there against me. Had to go and fight my own battles and win on my behalf. I didn't have to lift a finger. And then all the heaviness that was in me allowed me to become a bulletproof monk, for there would be nothing that can penetrate me, or that can alter me, or change me, or move me, or shift me. I had to sit and be still and understand that stillness and changing pace is an art form. And by doing that, you get to see with the third eye, which is that.
Your process of you say that there's different snakes, there's different and you tackle each one differently, and or maybe is your process mainly through expressing yourself through art, or is it sometimes it's the meditation, self-reflection?
Sure.
Is it everybody has different ways, and I think that the different issues need to be tackled maybe differently. There's not one fix for all the problems.
Yeah, we are multidimensional people. That we need to recognize. We are very multidimensional people. And you need to understand another thing, that in order for us to be, we should be able to open and close these shackles that life brought to us, either psychologically and beyond. But then it allows us to be powerful, because he who owns the power, it's us. We can put it when we want, and we can take it off whenever we feel like. And when we put it on when we want, it becomes swag. And then we control the power and the narrative. But then if someone else is putting it, and then we are fucked, because he is the one who holds the keys. But understanding that we are very multidimensional people and very spirited people, we are able to see not only with our eyes, but we can walk blindedly. We can walk blindfolded and feel very light and see light where darkness resides. That's the beauty of us as the people, and trust the process at the same time. So having to be multidimensional people, we are able to tap into multidimensional worlds and ride our skateboards in parallel universes. And we can do that. For if we are able to harness that power, if we are able to switch off all the noise, if we are able to be still even when we walk, if we are able to do all of that, we can have a conversation with each and every particle of the stone under our feet. And it can massage us. The air becomes what fuels us, and the journey becomes the spirited one, for even the shoeless can match it. So having to be a visual artist is 1% of who I am as a person. For at the gallery, they were asking me about my resume. And for me, it was not important. It was never important, my resume, because my people have walked the journey. Your people have walked the journey. Thousands of years, way during dinosaurs and beyond, or before they were, or before because they were not in a human shape or human form, but they existed. So there was not importance of me, it was not important for me to give them resume, because more than anything, I'm part and parcel of people. And the fact that I am who I am allows me to realize that I'm nothing else but a vessel that capacitates and stores within itself billions of human molecules. And sometimes they live in me. They come in me and visit me, and then I become them. That's why it's so important to recognize that spirit. For sometimes you are visited by one of them and he's troubled, and you have to go through all of that. Sometimes you are visited by one of them who want to have sex, and you have to go through all of that, because it's very spiritual, that thing. Sometimes you go through all of them and he showed you the beauty in someone who's passing by, and you have to go through all of that. And someone want to dance because he's a joyous and jovial spirit, and you have to go to the club. And someone doesn't feel like being around and surrounded by certain people. You have to go through all of that. So understanding that becomes now the blueprint of spirituality as a being. For anything that surrounds us, space and otherwise, limits our possibilities of achieving what we want to achieve, futuristically, spiritually, and beyond. Then, hence I'm saying to you, visual art, it's 1%.
Yeah.
For I have to appease the spirit of the one who is visual. It is, I am part and parcel of people who want to speak to me. And as they want to speak to me, they keep me up at night. I'm a twin, my brother. For me to get in the water, I have to understand something. I must buy my way in the waters. And remember, waters is silvery. Water is silvery. It's like mercury, it's heavy. For me to get into the river or into any water, I have to appease the spirits and the gods of the water. Because water gave birth to everything. It's one of the most powerful elements. It has given shape to everything that has shape right now. It has given shape to this wood. Water gave shape to fire. Water gave shape to the sun. It gave birth to the sun. The sun was born in the darkest abyss of water. The shapeless and the formless part of water allows everything to take shape. It takes shape of everything. Who am I to think that I can surpass and overpower water? In order for me to do that, I have to appease the spirit of water by throwing a silver coin in the water and speak to the waters, and the water comes down as a twin, and then I walk into the water. You see, so having to understand that, I have to understand at the same time that I'm part and parcel of a huge lineage of people. For my resume is those are my totems of people. A certain percentage of people who have walked the journey. So one of them decides that Ayanda, I want to be born in you as the sun is born from the waters. I will keep you up at night when people are sleeping, because I'm the most sacred piece of shit ever. I'm the most sacred being ever. I must keep you up at night, for I will take you away from your wife and kids. And I will steal you when the world is asleep, because me as a spirited being will only roam around when everyone is sleeping. I will keep you awake at night. And I will be born through you. And I will steal you, for time will stop. This is how powerful I am. And I must be born through you. You must be holy, sacred, and pure. For your wife understands that when you are gone, she's on the palm of our hands. We will take care of her. For the feelings of her that would allow both of you to have time at night, have coffee and everything, we will take care of that. We will make sure that your kids sleep peacefully, for they won't realize that you're not there. Don't worry. We control time. Our version of counting time and calculating time has everything to do not with Mayan calendar, not with any type of calendar, or not with any type of Rolex type of chronometer. No, it's not that. We have power to calculate and stop time and let it move. We will stop time and make your people wait for you. They won't feel the void. Come, I must be born through you. I am this person who want to be born sitting beautifully, sipping cup of wisdom from the cup, sipping tea from the cup of wisdom. I am this person who with herself should be born from you as a female spirit, but through your canvas, for I want to be seen, that I'll be born through you. We have given you a gift. The gift in which we have given you, in my language, Sispio. Ispio, it's a gift. It's the gift. The definition of Ispio is the gift. It is not yours, for I am not yours, Ayanda. I am of the people. Create me and let me be born through you. I will lead you. For when that canvas is done, when people see me, it's an offering. It's not about money. Then they born like this. And after that, I will send Luke to come and talk to you. And through you, Ayanda, don't worry, we will speak to him. For he is sent by us. And we have carried him in those clouds, in that plane, and made sure that he comes and be here with you. And you're going to speak to him. We will use you to speak to him. It's not you. For don't take the credit. He whom you're sitting with is one of our sons. We have shown him where you are. We have led him there. We are taking him and putting him in different spaces. The journey is us leading him there. Tell him to trust the process, and tell him to trust the process and even walk with his eyes closed. He won't hit a pole. We will carry him. He's part of you, and he's part of you people. He's part of everything. He's sent by us. It is so important. For after this, he has to hear this. For after this, he will be healed. This is why you have this conversation with him. And he's going to be the only and the first person whom you're speaking to and whom you're talking to about us. For the world should hear and know about us. And we'll take care of it. So the visual art part of it has a lot to do with me accepting the fact that as a man who doesn't have a womb, I should be used to give birth to people who are the moon people, the spirited beings who within themselves carry a womb. I'm a vessel and nothing else. That's me.
Through these, you know, the power of these words is it's overwhelming, you know.
Sure.
And what, like, sorry.
We're here. Don't worry. These are our moments, and they're real. This is important.
And what, like, do you have like a self-preservation process for it, or, you know, like, also because it's this, you know, having this this, you know, this power, this you know, and having reached this sort of spiritual level where you know, it's the message that the message that's the more than the message, that just the spirit that generate, and then you know, the message that you give is so powerful. Yet, you know, I think there's vulnerability
sure.
in all of us, you know, and I mean, you know, that I'm happy sometimes, you know, when people come to me for advice and say, you know, like, what do you think and everything like that. But then there seems to be sometimes a bit of a disregard also for saying, okay, you're the strong one, therefore I can offload all my shit onto you. You know.
Sure. There is vulnerability, which is very important. It's very important. I must say, trust me, it's very important. Vulnerability has everything to do with you as a person understanding that you have to let go. In our midst of vulnerability, it is us being carried away and taken away, and being us being uplifted, for we are unconsciously transported in other spaces, for our bodies dance the spiritual dance, for our bodies do what our mind is not aware of. And it is very important, that process. When women give birth, in an African context, they have to give birth standing. When they give birth standing, it's so important that everything gets out. The child has to stay for 9 months in the womb. I was born 6 months. The child has to stay 9 months in the womb. And in that 9 months of the child being in the womb, it's so important that each and every month and every process, every day and every hour, that child is constantly being connected and being prepared and being connected with each and every ancestor and the spirit that he will carry within himself or herself. That child becomes, every spirit birth itself in that child. And understand one thing, all the child, from when we have, even us with the children, we choose who and which womb in which we will be born from in. And we choose the time and the timing. So, in the period of 9 months of the child mother being pregnant, it is the spirit that locates the right mother to be born and where the inception of itself will happen. And when the mother gives birth, she goes in trance. It is vulnerability of the spirit. For there are certain things that are highly sacred that she shouldn't witness. For even when the mother is giving birth, cesarean, they cover his body, upper body. There are certain things that she shouldn't see, because the process has a lot to do with the spirit giving birth to itself.
Sorry.
Yes.
No. When you're talking about giving birth and giving birth standing up, the mother of my godchild. She wanted to do everything at home. And give birth at home, and the birth, you know, the whole process took like 3 days. You know what I mean? And it was like a hectic, but you know, and you know, it was, and she said it was. She, like, at one point she said she started speaking in tongues, basically. You know what I mean? Because it was such a you know, the way she described that, the giving birth you know, I mean, there's no, I'm not saying there's any right way or wrong way of giving birth, but you know, just the way she described bringing Elo to the world was you know, just the way it was incredible, just listening to that, what you're saying now, you know, this.
It's a very violent act. It's what people who don't believe in certain things believe in evolution. When evolution happens, they talk about the eruption of Earth and the volcanoes that took place for everything took shape. They're trying to define the spirit that lives in the water taking shape and formations of certain things took place. It's evolution. Waters are very vital. That's why when we're vulnerable, we cry sometimes. It's so important. Let go, because it's about water. It's about you taking new form and new shape. It's about your spirit taking new form and new shape, but it has to let go, because as salty as tears are, when they come out of your eyes, they drown everything that troubles you. Let them out. Let them out. Let them out. So, children are born from the waters. Everything started from the waters. When they are born from the waters, it is because those waters are very important. And you ask yourself, where did this water come from? In this belly. Is it the water she drank? No. But understanding that, we have to, the mother sometimes go in trance because the spirit is bigger than her and it must be born. So we go through all of that, us too as creatives, and because we're giving birth. In the midst of vulnerability, it is not Ayanda who is great, it is the spirit in which Ayanda possesses. That of Kamata, which in English they call it God. That of He who was before, who exists and forever will exist. The Spirit. It is that. So, it is the power of the Trinity, not the Christian Trinity or any type of Trinity. It's not that. But it is the power of the yesterday and now and forever. It is powerful. It is how we calculate times. It is us talking about yesterday, the then, the now, and forever. It is that. That is the most powerful process. So the Spirit gives birth to itself, but then you speak in tongues. If you create, you will play music and lose yourself. If you are a creative and these spirits are born out of you, people look at it and feel vulnerable that they cry, or sometimes they want to give you the hug. It's important. For right at that moment, they are flipping. They are not here. Their heels are like Air Jordans with wings on the sides. So we are elevated at that moment. It's so important. It's part of the process. We go through that. But at the same time, we all have to understand that we are beautiful spirited particles from the most beautiful cosmos ever. And the only thing that we have to do is to do good and shine the light. It's the most important thing ever. So Ayanda wouldn't take the credit of anything, but mine is to share. And mine is to share, mine is to let go, mine is to give, mine is to take and pluck unto you, yours is to share, take and pluck unto me, for we become the birds of the same feathers. It's so important. I'm there. You see, even the conversation that we have right now, I don't think, I spoke about me being fascinated by cameras, but I can't look at cameras. I can't look at the camera, because when the camera shoots me, that's why I was wearing these glasses. When the camera shoots me, it penetrates me, it takes away. And the spirit that lives in me, when the camera flashes, it shies away. Yeah. It's a foreign object for me. And we don't know where that content would go to. We don't know how the eyes and the gaze of those who will see it in our absence will do with it. Yeah. We don't know how pervasive those who will see it will do with it, because it is me in my most vulnerable state, for I speak, which is the Spirit. And I have chosen to expose it out there, and it's scary as shit. That's why when we're having an exhibition, I said to people, I can't be here. It's too much for me. Yeah. Because I'm smaller than everyone. It's the most important thing. Humble yourself. And in my presence of being here, I had to be a doormat. For everyone had to take off their shoes and walk unto me. For I carry their load, but I know I can shred it out. And what you're doing right now, you're allowing me to do that. By speaking, I get healed and light. And I can fly and reach the highest heights. It's so important what you're doing.
Thank you. Oh, man. It's powerful. It's hard for me to talk, actually, right now.
It's fine. We have time.
It's just, sorry.
Yeah.
But,
feel free. We're good.
Just
we're good. Remember,
maybe yeah. Can we maybe talk a bit about
sure.
Sorry, I just want
take your time. We're good.
To maybe.
Don't worry. I'm here. I'm here. You know, it's a you see, I created some works before. And I always say to people, I call them ugly works. You own one of them. The ugly works had nothing to do with the ugly works.
But it's powerful, man.
It's powerful. The ugly works.
It's without going into what it was.
Sure.
Just when you left, and then I was like, I just had to open it and see it, and I put it, because it's a big piece, and saw it on my floor, and I was speechless for hours. I was just, I was just looking at it, and I didn't even, have the TV on or music or anything like this.
Yeah.
I was just silent and just, taking it in,
sure.
just taking it in, and I find it strange that you call them ugly works, but
I call them ugly works. And people are asking me why I calling these works ugly works, and they're great. Now I'm going to answer that. I call them ugly works because for me they are a part and parcel of the ugliest chapter of our lives as the people. And if I'm talking about time and the power of time and understanding it as time as time molecule and time particle, I was part of that. Time at that time became a heavy vortex, and I was in the eye of the storm, as everyone. And I know how it feels to be inside that vortex. It threw us into the hardest spaces ever as people. Those works I call them ugly works because they symbolizes, and they are different chapters of the ugliest times of our lives. Those works. And I call them ugly works because they are the ugliest truth, but very important and crucial for us to move on.
Yeah.
But the most important thing about those works was that those works allowed me to appease that spirit so I can be carried on up and be transported.
Can I ask you, when you're creating those, is there like a drive in anger, and I ask this because there's if I do something that's got a sort of political connotation to it, or where it comes from frustration and anger. Well, I'm just like fed up. You know what I mean? I'm like this. Whether however small my voice may be, I just need to get it out because I feel like it consumes me. It consumes me otherwise, and I think it's important that people, however big or small the voice is, that the voice needs to come out.
You must understand one thing: the power that we have. Is that as spirited as we are as people, we are wrestling with alligators of many industries, politically and otherwise. We are wrestling with alligators in human form. The spirit exists, the form and shape is different. That's why we have to respect even the birds. So, sometimes we become the avatars, and we have to have these people riding on our backs. And sometimes we take different shapes, and we carry other people with us, and sometimes we are carried. But you need to understand the anger that happens when you are creating such has a lot to do with you being put on fire. You're angry because you are put on fire and people are put on fire. And this fire consumes people. That is the anger. Because you feel, because you exist, and because you are very much aware and you are very much present. You cannot be numb unless you're dead. But even if you're dead, you cannot be dead enough to know that you're dead. So how can you be numb? You cannot be numb. It can only be a sophisticated type of ignorance that people have that makes them walk past a dead, stinking corpse and feel nothing. Then we're talking about something else now. But then if you feel as a being, and you are the vessel that carries the spirit, the same way as this bottle carries this water, then you will feel, and you will react and respond. Not because you're not a free thinker, but because you have eyes, and because you have eyes, you are a witness. Because you are a witness, you have a responsibility, and you cannot be that ignorant. And because you have that responsibility, you take now all the anguish of everything that people feel, and you accept the spirit, and you feel all the pain that they feel. And you feel like you're on fire. The reason for that is because you allowed yourself to be that vessel. It's beautiful. Now you free people by speaking on their behalf. For at that time they feel no pain. You take all of it within yourself. But then you burn at that process. During that process, you feel so angry at that process because each and every one of them, it's in you now. For they can go and play and dance. You take everything with yourself, within yourself. It becomes the heaviest weight ever that it stifles you to sit down and create this work. And by creating this work, it's so painful that it feels like you're shitting a hand grenade that is tied up with barbed wire out of your ass, and it's gonna rupture the shit out of you. Or if you don't, it will poison your system and explode within yourself and kill you slowly. You're made to give birth. But the process of giving birth takes you in a trance, for you become angry. You cannot not be angry. We are frustrated niggas ourselves. But it sharpens us because we understand the power of the process. Putin is a motherfucker. It fucks us up, that thing. Because we're part of and parcel of people who are beautiful, gifted and beyond. Trump is a piece of shit because we love the people. Politics are a piece of shit. Now we come back and say, oh, by the way, these are fucked up vessels amongst us. Oh, these are the fruits that are worthy to be pruned. So how do we deal with it? Oh man, no. It is not them. Shame, let's forgive them. It's not them. It's the spirit they possess. Then the war becomes spiritual. Now we deal with the demons that they carry within themselves. But the flesh cannot be convinced. It is a destructive one. It is a living, rotten, walking zombie. We're dealing with a zombified beings like the Walking Dead documentary or series. How can we do to change the narrative, the opposite? We now go back and now deal with what they carry within themselves. It makes us angry. It burns us from within. But the most beautiful part of it is that at the end of it, when we have given birth to that grenade that we have to shoot it and excruciate with an excruciating pain and shoot it out of our system, the anger is gone. What will we become? We've been exposed in fire, we become phoenixes. And then we become light like a coal. For we become fire ourselves. Even if you put us in fire tomorrow and burn us, we turn red. We turn red like a blood moon that carries all the spirit of women who are no longer menstruating. For they have surpassed and gone beyond pain, for pain is nothing to them. They are spirited. We become spirited now. We become the seeds that carries all the fruits that will heal the people and nourish them, not only physical but spiritual. We become that. It's so important that we have to be angry, because the anger has nothing to do with anger, but in the shallow-mindedness and the shallow eyes of people who see that unfamiliarity, it is anger. But to us, it's us speaking in tongues. It's the trance state of us accepting, being as absent, accepting the idea of being part of the boat that will take people to the other side of the waters. We meet the harsh waters. We meet the storms of the sea. We meet the sharks in the midst of it. We meet the dragons in the midst of it. We meet the spitting fire dragon in the midst of it. We are faced with 6-eyed dragons and 8-eyed spiders in the midst of the journey. And sometimes we journey in the belly of a whale, and it carries us to the other side. For it commands everything in the sea. It's the biggest, it's the elephant of the sea. So we have to trust the journey and let go, and let go, and let go, and let go. Slowly but surely it's the process. That is why we calculate time in seasons. It's about seasons. Seasons. We count time and calculate time in seasons. About the yesteryears, the now, and forever. We live for tomorrow. Today is a blessing. It's not about months. It's not about anything. It's about the yesterday, the then, the now, and foreverness. It's us. We calculate how we calculate time. We calculate time in a concept called Islimela. Islimela, it's times to plow and times to harvest. izlimela ngunyanga ntathu. Unyanga ntathu is the concept of 3. We calculate time in such, for we only count times based on occurrences. That today I was with Luke. It's not the 24th of June, by the way. It is that day when I was with my brother. That is the power that we have. So we count times based on the fact that at the time when this work was created, this is how I felt. And it was the time, it was the moon cycle. And the moon was a crescent moon, by the way, or it was a full moon. This happened, it was windy, the seas were vulnerable, and the waters were heavy. So the process of creation has a lot to do with that. But when we enjoy it, we are able to be healed and free. Then we can breathe. But the importance about breathing, we have to breathe according to how far we want to go. It's like diving deep in the waters. You go. But if your breath is short, it is the shortness of longevity of whatever that you're doing. It's important that we sit down in stillness and breathe. It's meditative to create too. We see other things, we visit other worlds. We ride our skateboards and surf and silver surf our imagination in the cosmos of beauty, creativity, creation, and see glimpses of the gods and give birth to them. The pain of the boys that you've photographed, carrying the AK-47s, the most powerful weapons and everything, with the masks of the gods on their faces, had a lot to do with you in the midst of creating those works, allowing those gods in which those masks represents to enter the gates of heaven. You freed them. You freed them. It's us in a conversation of an ancient spirit and letting go through our works. For we are shown that as we are standing in the gates of heaven, we have to go in. We've been standing here for a longer, and we have given ourselves to these sons. They are child soldiers. And the people who are making them child soldiers don't see that these are ancient spirits. They are giving them these guns to eliminate some of us. And the more we are being shot there, the more we are falling at the door. The more of us are being shot there, more of us are falling. Look, I'm coming into you because I'm the third one in the line. If another one is shot, I'm the second one. I'm about to fall. Create this and show people for they throw away the bullets. Yeah. You do that, the spirit goes into the gates of heaven. It's so powerful. But in the midst of that, you're fighting with the enemy that within itself carries the bad spirit. You feel it all, but you have saved numerous numbers of people, and now you have changed the occurrences of the day, for we have witnessed numerous of funerals every day. It's so important. It's part of the journey. The process has to be trusted.
And it's not an easy journey, and it's not a quick journey either. You know, that's like, yeah, the older I get, and you know, it's this. Thank God there's a bit of patience that seems to be. It's patience and restlessness also. You know, there's this.
You are kept awake at night.
I'm kept awake.
You kept awake at night, and we must understand another thing. When we are creatives and as a spiritual beings, we are visited by the spirits of Steve Bikos. We are visited by spirits of Lumumbas. We are visited by spirits of Sankaras. We are visited by spirits of Kwame Nkrumahs. We are visited by Che Guveras. We are visited by the unknown beings who were buried in unmarked graves and whose names were changed to confuse the spirit and to tame the power they had. We are visited by such. We are visited by the Christians. We are visited by Sobukwes. But you must understand another thing. When we are visited by such spirits, they imagine us. They take shape of us. And when people see us, as striking as we are, as colorful as we can be, as much as Umatosa is dressing us and everyone is dressing us, and as much as beautiful as we can be, when people are looking at us, they see an ancient spirit. And that ancient spirit whispers in us and say, oh, by the way, you were trying to look like this. I will show you that I live in you and I'm older. I'll give you more gray hairs before your time. And don't worry. I'll make sure that you live in the same age. Don't worry. When you look at yourself right there in that mirror, you are as young as a baby, as much as you, but you're carrying the ancient spirit and an ancient soul in you. By the way, your father was there. As fucked up as he was, you will work for his sins will be forgiven. You are the good one. Walk and trust the process. It's so important. So we live in the same age. We live in the same age. When we understand that we are as old as the waters of that sea, sometimes we have to go put our feet. When we remove our shoes, sometimes we connect. We are as old as that earth. Let's kiss it. Sometimes we have to inhale because the wind is blowing around and the energy and the oxygen, it needs a home. But we keep on shortening our breaths, depriving it of home. And sometimes we drink this water. We have to drink it in gallons because it needs to take a shape of a beautiful spirited being. Let it not be the one that is used to flush the toilets. Give it home. You will be healed. This is it. People don't see that. We need to see that it's the healers. It's the healing. You being part of this, you're going to bring this to the people, they will heal. The closing note of the show yesterday was that, may everyone be healed. I don't care who you are, either you're my enemies or one of the snakes, be healed. It is about healing. For when you healed, it's a new chapter, and you will be led, because you will not contaminate the waters. It is about the healing. Why not? Heal, and breathe, and love. And love. Heal, breathe, and love. It's the only currency in which we owe to us amongst us as people. Heal and love, we will be loved. Heal and loved, and you will be loved. People don't understand, my brother, the new narrative out there, it's about globalization and deforestation and global warming. And that global warming and deforestation and globalization and everything, globalization has a lot to do with people moving together in different terrains and achieving and visiting different forms of spaces that were bordered. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the. I understand.
It's a culmination. The spirit want to culminate beyond race and shit.
But what the thing is that there's some bad apples that try to capitalize on that.
That is the problem now.
And that's the part that.
That's the problem now.
You know?
That is the problem. And the spirit says, "Be you, be yourself, in the midst of this journey. For I am you, and there's only one, and that is you." Listen.
Sorry,
Yes.
no, please tell me. No, I was just going to
Yes.
ask because
Yeah.
I can't miss my flight though.
Okay.
I just need to know
What time?
What are we for time?
It's an hour.
It's an hour now. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
We're gonna talk.
If we can.
So it says, quickly, it says, move together, move, and be yourself, each and every one of you. Now, this is now love. When we go to circumcise, I'm making an example. We're talking globalization here. We are talking deforestation, and the concept based on deforestation has a lot to do with global warming. And all those things, in the midst of globalization narrative and journey, and talks about it, says, move together. Okay, sure, we'll see you, but be yourself. Recognize your spirit. Don't change. Sure. But the biggest warning is, remember one thing, that the road was once the sea, and it will always be thirsty. It might swallow you. Be cognizant of that. We respect it. For when you lost, take a rock and put it in the middle of the crossroad. It will show you the way. Because it's been there. It lives underwater. It forms the mountains. It falls as a shooting star at night. It's the rock. It will lead the way. Stars carry rocks within themselves. It will show you the way. Trust the process. 2, the deforestation and the global warming and everything, it's got nothing to do with all the, it has a lot to do with you understanding that all the trees that existed were planted from the seed. The seed is nothing else but your forefathers, who when they die, they become the seed. And we plant them and they come and germinate themselves as trees. For inside their stems, they are a scroll of knowledge and spirituality. For when you cut them, you're killing them. By the way, they are angry, and these vortexes and storms that comes, it is them howling at you. Don't. The enemy that is spiritually, that we're fighting, the unspirited enemy that we're fighting as spiritual being, it is not of us to fight. I got to that realization when I'm sitting in mere quietness and stillness. When we go to the mountain and circumcise, the first thing that we are told is the story of a man called Somagwaza, which is the first man who became a man, who gave birth to the concept of circumcision of Jesus Christ, the concept of circumcision of the Jewish people, the concept of circumcision of all the nations. He did the sin and did everything that shouldn't be done. And for the spirits to deal with him, they had to tell him to deal with himself. It was the spirit letting go and allowing itself to be light. And it took the weight of the being away from itself and gave it to the being to carry. And it said to him the story, punish yourself, deal with your own.
Yeah.
And he took the stone and put his manhood on the rock and hit it and hit it and hit it. And from there, he spoke to the spirit and said, from here moving on, I will do things that men do. I will think like a man and do as such. So, ours right now is to spread love. For the enemy will deal with itself. The most important thing that we should be doing, we should pray for the enemy by showing love to it too.
Yeah.
But we have to go through all of this, because when we're not spitting fire on it, that fire burns us.
Yeah, it's just hard sometimes.
We feel it.
I think there's also there's many different. Each individual takes different paths and journeys to get to a certain place, and it's I mean, I'm on a personal level, I look back and I think, there was this this was fucked up in my life. This was this,
sure.
that, and everything like that. But then it's culminating, and there's still, I feel like the journey never ends. You know what I mean? But there's these moments in life where you feel stronger than before. You feel that, or at times you feel more depleted and weak and everything like that, or more enlightened, and sometimes you feel more enlightened. Sometimes you feel plagued by some kind of ignorance, or
sure.
it varies in so much in life, and just taking in the moments where I do feel strong, where I do feel that I have some sort of enlightenment, and then trying to see how I can harness that to do good, or to do something that that somehow will lift this this load off my shoulders, because I know at that moment I have the strength to do it. Some other times I don't, but sometimes I feel like you feel like that.
The most important thing is the endurance in the journey. It gives longevity to life. That is the most important thing. Endure. It will be over. Tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, it's part and parcel of longevity. For you are given access to another possibility of beauty, greatness, and love. So it is love we should spread. But more than anything, it's the longevity and it's the endurance. It's the endurance and taking it heads on. But you're pushing forward slowly but surely. You're pushing forward slowly but surely. You're pushing forward slowly but surely. But the most beautiful part of it is that there will be time when you're sitting and looking at the sunset. And it will give, because it has witnessed, the sun has witnessed everything as a big eye above us. It will take away all that load and throw it on the other side. And it will go down with it. And beautifully. And all the cries that had a lot to do with the process of you enduring, you will see it when the sun goes down, red and orange. You need to understand that, yes, there was bloodshed in the process, but it has gone. And then the stars will come and shine at night, and they're witnessing it's your ancestors smiling at you, and then you are lifted to another realm. You go and sleep. There, you will be alive till infinity. It's life. It's about endurance and longevity. Stay blessed. It's love.
Thank you, Ayanda.
It's love. We healed from here. We healed. So, this is yours.
No, brother.
You're free. Take it on and off at any given time. You can. It's yours. It's a very personal one.
I know. Brother.
I realize that I'm free.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oof. I was expecting a great, but this was
we're here. We're here.
Heavy. Nice, but thank you so much, man.
Yeah.